Hey guys, it's Paul and welcome back to my channel. I've got my bachelor's in criminal justice and a minor in psychology, and I'm gonna say that for the next 50 videos because I'm just so proud of myself. On top of that, I am a board member for a nonprofit called Voices for the Silenced. We help missing people, mostly in West Virginia, get resources to their family and friends that could really help aid in their search and in finding their missing loved ones. If you have a missing loved one in West Virginia, please get a hold of us and we'll do what we can. And we are back with a talking CJ. It has been a minute, right? And today I wanted to really go into another criminologist that was just really important in the criminal justice realm. Now this guy is French, and I'll be honest, I could find hardly any videos in English speaking about this guy, so I might get his name wrong and like cities and stuff in this. I'm doing the best I can. And we're going to go over Alexandre Laccasgne today. He was born August 17th, 1843, and he was from Cahors, I think is how you say it. And he came from a pretty quiet housekeeping family. He went to a military school in Strasbourg, and he was known as a brilliant medical student. He also became an assistant professor, and he did end up transferring to Montpellier. His biggest interests were sociology and psychology, and he really liked to find similarities in between these subjects, especially on the deviant behavior side. And he did believe that your genetic makeup and the environment you grew up in had a lot to do on whether you were going to commit criminal behavior. He did work at the Val de Grace military hospital in Paris. He was then sent to North Africa, but this really helped him grow his knowledge in the medical field. He did end up becoming a French physician and was a French pathology professor at the University of Lyons, France. He did end up becoming a criminologist, obviously being in the series. And he was mostly known for his work on the case of Sadi Carnot, who was stabbed by an anarchist in 1894. And he also worked on the case of France's first serial killer, Joseph Vacher. He did testify that his behavior did not ring true to insanity, but more antisocial sadism. And he also spent a lot of time dedicated to the forming of forensic science. And he did believe in the death penalty, saying that there are some criminals that are just completely irredeemable. Some of his influences in his work include Gabriel Tarde, Auguste Comrie, the founder of phrenology, Franz Joseph Gall, someone we have talked about on this channel, Cesar Lombroso. He initially was very much influenced by Cesar Lombroso, but ended up strongly disagreeing that biology has a huge factor in whether you have criminal behavior. Now, he had a great relationship with law enforcement. He really supported what they did, and he did end up becoming the chair of forensic science at the University of Lyons, France. He is known as the founding father of ballistics. He's a principal founder of medical jurisprudence and criminal anthropology. He also ended up becoming a specialist in the field of toxicology. He also dove deep in how blood stain analysis worked, and he really looked into bullet markings and what that can tell you about it being fired. And he had quite a few assistants that had the great opportunity of studying under him. He did end up dying in Lyons in 1924, and he died at 81 from actually a pretty silly accident on the street, is how it was described. Now, when it came to ballistics, he was one of the first people to take a scalpel and trace the wound that a bullet caused. In the case that he worked on, he was able to tell that it happened in his left chest and was angled downward. And he also noticed there was 7 scratch-like marks on the bullet. He did notice that the bullet was slightly deformed because it nicked the man's rib, but that didn't really explain the scratches. And he also kind of figured out how to check the projectile of the murder weapon. He really looked at the size to figure out the caliber, and he would look at the weight to find out the manufacturer of the murder weapon. He was able to call in a gunsmith that had a similar type gun who brought quite a bit of bullets, and in these bullets there was 7 little nicks just like the other one. So they were able to find that this bullet that was able to be shot out of this type of gun was what killed this person. They then set up some test shooting with this weapon and bullets, and he had a pathologist shoot into a body that had similar clothing of this guy at the type of angle that he was shot at. He then removed the bullet from this corpse to check the similarities, and they were pretty similar. He also looked into another case in February 1888. This 78-year-old man who was bleeding knocked on this person's door. He had been shot several times, one being through the larynx. So obviously he couldn't explain what happened to him, and unfortunately he did end up dying a few days later. So Laccasgne took the bullets out of this man. He weighed them, he did his tests with them, he looked at what type of rifling it would come from, and he called his gunsmith friend again. He then was able to figure out the suspect's girlfriend had the same type of revolver they thought these bullets were shot out of at her house. So they did the same types of shooting tests with that gun, and lo and behold, it was a match. Now, he also looked into bloodstain analysis also, and he was actually one of the first scientists ever to look into bloodstain analysis. He really used bloodstain analysis to help kind of navigate what happened at a crime scene and where the body was probably initially killed. He also thought you could figure out like the position of the victim, whether they'd been moved or anything like that. Now, Laccagne's School of Criminology was formed. He was clearly the founder, right? It's named after him. And it was based in Lyon. He described crime as anti-physiological movement, which occurs in the intimacy of the social organism. In this school, they believed that your social environment had a physiological effect on your brain. And this was something that he differed from Lombroso about. He also thought that there was 3 types of criminals: thought criminals, act criminals, or sentimental, or sometimes it's called instinctual criminals. This school did really well between 1885 and 1924. It was very influential in France. Alexandre and several of his students really studied different types of revolvers and really looked at the projectile, what the bullets look like once they were shot, and just really got to know revolvers. Now, this school clearly did rival Lombroso's Italian School of Criminology. His school kind of focused on phrenology, so unfortunately Alexandre's school did get overshadowed. Phrenology at the time was discredited by most scientists, so they didn't really look at Laccagne's School of Criminology as influential in society as Lombroso's school. And a famous quote I would like to end on that Alexandre Laccasgne said was that every society gets its kind of criminal it deserves. So that is all I have for Alexandre Laccasgne. I think I said that wrong the whole video. But thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe for me, and hit that notification button. That way you're notified the next time I upload. I still have a GoFundMe for Crystal Young going. If you haven't watched that video, you need to go see why her mom needs this PI so bad. On top of that, I have stickers for sale. They're $2 each, and all proceeds go to the Cold Case Foundation, so it is for a good cause. And thank you guys so much again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!